Welcome to Try to Thrive, the podcast where passion meets endurance and every finish line is just the beginning. We're here to inspire, challenge, and share our journey through swim, bike, run, and beyond.
Welcome back to Try to Thrive. In this second part of our episode, we are diving deeper into a serious topic: bike laws, safety, and responsibility on the road. After a tragic recent accident, Dennis and I talked honestly about the difference in bike laws between Poland and Germany, the lack of awareness from drivers and what needs to change. From driving school education to how much space a cyclist really needs. This one gets personal, emotional, and a bit uncomfortable. But it's a conversation we need to have. Let's get into it.
And then are people aware of it? Are car drivers aware of it, that the law is actually not really clear, that we can ride the bike on the road?
It's probably not.
So that again creates a problem. I don't like the word problem, but it creates a problem between cyclists and car drivers or other people on the road. And they will get mad because they think, they have to ride the bike there. And there's very often not much understanding for sports cyclists. So I think this is not good, because people should be more aware and should know that, there's also a cyclist and he has also the right to go there. And I had many situations where people would honk, where people would scream, even when there was no bike lane.
I think, how can we solve that problem? I mean, we can't, but what could have been done better is educating at the driving schools. Making them aware of different types of cyclists. So if you in the early stage, when people learning how to drive, they are aware of that can solve that issue in the future.
Yeah. Let's take a look to Germany. And Germany also has a law connected to the use of bike lanes, which is slightly different. Cyclists must use bike lanes only if marked with a blue circular sign, so that they have to use the bike lane. But usually there is no sign. So it's very seldom that there is a sign that they have to use the bike lane. No sign means no obligation to use the bike lane, which is most of the time. Cyclists can use roads if bike lanes are unsuitable or unsafe. So that's also the same. But here you can see, a difference between how it is in Poland and in Germany. In Germany, it straight says, only if it's marked that you have to use it, then you use it. But most of the time, there is no mandatory sign that, hey, you have to go there. And makes it for cyclists better, because then they know that, people are aware I am allowed to ride my bike here, even if there is a bike path next by.
And I would like to add something on top of it, because we are talking about laws. And I did also some research, and that's now very important. So in Germany, motorists are often held partially liable. So in other words, if I'm driving a car and I'm having an accident with the bike, then I am automatically liable for that, partially. It depends on the case.
Why is that?
I am stronger with the car. I can kill people with the car. And you are the stronger person, so you are automatically liable. I think that is good. So people need to be aware. People need to be aware.
Yeah, I agree totally. Me as a cyclist, what is the worst thing I can do to you as a car driver? I ride slowly. You cannot overtake me.
You can scratch my car.
You lose some time, and perhaps if I make a mistake, I can scratch your car.
Yeah.
But you will be all right.
I will be all right.
You will be all right.
Yes.
You will be totally all right. And much likely even then I will hurt myself.
Yeah.
But if you're a car driver and you just bump into me, I can lose my life.
Exactly. So, how does it look in Poland? In Poland, fault is assigned based on direct violation, no pre-assumption of driver liability. And I think that is...
What does that mean? What does it mean for us? I think we can also use the example of the accident that happened just a few weeks ago with Maya Demska, who was riding on the road, and the car was overtaking her and then braking abruptly. And by Polish law, they will check, okay, every single detail of it and then come to a decision. If it would be by German law, you as the car driver would be at fault, at least partially. So if I know that in the law, if I hit someone because I was braking abruptly, then yeah, it can be that it's my fault. Then for sure, in a lot of cases, I will be more cautious. So that's why I think this law is good.
Yeah. And I can give you an example that not only relates to cycling, that also relates to running, because obviously a car is much stronger. So I had an issue that clearly a car driver could see me approaching, going over the street, and he just was driving normally. Even he knows I will soon approach and go over the street. But I continued my way and he needed to brake and he started honking. And I knocked at his window and I told him, "What's your problem?" He said, "There is no zebra, so there is no official way for me to pass the street." And I told him, "You're right, but if you hit me, it's your fault. So be more carefully."
Is there also a law in Germany that is on your side with this?
Yes, it is.
It's the same, right?
It's the same, yeah.
In France, it's a similar law because in France, usually everyone goes even by red light over the street. You've been in France?
No, not yet.
No, okay. I studied in France, and I came there as a German and a Pole. You don't cross the road as a pedestrian when there's a red light. French people. Why? Because actually they do it, and if someone hits you, even if they have green and you have a red light as a pedestrian, it's not your fault. So that's why everyone is doing it. Very interesting. That's when I became French. So there are differences in law. My advice, if you can go on the bike lane, go on the bike lane. But yeah, of course, if you go faster and you have a way where you cannot go on the bike lane because then you would have to go with 15 or 20 kilometers per hour, I believe that it should be okay to go on the road. And I always did it. And I did my research just today and found out, okay, it's in Poland mandatory to go on the bike lane. Perhaps also a question to you, listening to the podcast. What is your opinion?
Yeah, let us know.
Not so easy, not so clear also to me, as we discussed the law. Last thing from my side I would like to talk about the law is how far away from the right side can you ride your bike? Do you have to ride exactly on the line, or can you keep more distance?
I have no idea. I can tell you how I approach it. If I ride with my racing bike on the street, I wouldn't say I'm riding in the middle all the time, but minimum like a meter from the line. It has a reason. The reason is that most cases the asphalt on the right side breaks for various reasons. So, and I don't want to ride my racing bike with my special tires on a bumpy road. So that's why I'm closer to the middle. But educate me. How is it? How's the law?
So for me, when I was in the cycling club, I remember that the trainer said, 1 meter. You can have like 1 meter. I checked it. So that's in Germany, what they told me back then. But that's already, almost 20 years ago. And I checked it online and I found a document from an organization for cyclists that stated you are allowed to have a distance to the outer line of 80 centimeters. And if you have to overtake a car or something like that is standing on the side, then even it's 1 meter. I haven't found anything written in law, so I'm not sure if this is actually correct. I also tried to find something in Poland. I didn't find anything. Of course, in both countries, it's mandatory to ride your bike right. Just as a car, you have to ride on the right side. But how close do you have to be? I didn't find how it is in Poland. Me personally, I have for sure like around 1 meter. But then from time to time, if the asphalt is good enough, I go straight on the line or next to the line. Because then also, people can overtake me easier. I understand that. And most of the time, it's no problem for me, even if they don't leave much space for me overtaking. But now we get to the next topic of overtaking. How much distance should a car have when it overtakes you as a cyclist?
I would say at least a meter.
Why do you think at least a meter?
There needs to be a safe space for me as well, because I can do some movements to the left and right. So
exactly.
That needs to be expected.
So the Polish law says it's minimum 1 meter. You have to keep distance to the cyclist. But it recommends to use more. But the minimum is 1 meter, which I believe is very little. 1 meter is not much.
And that's why I said minimum, yes.
But very often, people just overtake you and they have like 2 or 3 centimeters to your handlebars.
Yeah.
Which, if you are not very skilled on your bike, can also cause a crash. Not for the car driver, but only for you. So that's also. But how is it in Germany? What do you think, Chris? Is it the same or?
It sounds almost like Germany is a pro cyclist country. I would say it's a bit more, maybe 1.50 meters.
Oh, very good. So inside a city, it's 1 meter and 50 centimeters. You have to keep distance.
Okay.
So if we think that a cyclist has 80 centimeters distance to the outer side of the road, and then you overtake him and you have 1.5 meters to him, basically you cannot overtake him on the same line. You have to be mostly on the other side.
True.
But somehow people very rarely do it. Even like in Germany, more often people take a lot of distance. But
because they know what can happen with the law.
It's also it's not that much that people go very close to my handlebar in Germany. And I rode more in Germany than in Poland. I live here for 5 years. I ride my bike here for 5 years now. In Germany, I rode like many years my road bike. But there's also one difference in Germany. Outside of the city, you have to have 2 meters of distance. So that's even better.
Yes. Yeah.
So I think here we come back to the point you were making in the beginning. Car driver is stronger. The car is stronger. So if you drive your car, you should be taking care of weaker people on the road. Yeah, I think about law, that's everything. How can we sum up this, Chris?
How can we sum up this? So I think you should be aware what is the law in your country. We covered just Poland and Germany. I hope other countries are listening to that podcast as well, other people from other countries. So make sure that you are aware what is the law, what is the regulation. And if you see people do not behave properly, educate them. Make them aware. Otherwise, they will just continue like this and it can lead to an accident. but I just want to give you one little numbers and some stats about accident. So as we know, we have around 36 million people in Poland living and around 83 million in Germany. Deaths per million inhabitants in Poland is 8 fatal cyclist deaths per million in Poland and 5 to 6 cyclist deaths per million in Germany. In 2023, Polish Cyclist magazine and National Police reported around 270 cyclists died annually. That's a lot.
Yeah, it is. It is. Makes me sad hearing it.
Absolutely.
Especially thinking about this, one example I gave you earlier, which makes me really sad because I knew this person. And I wish we could live in a world where people would just take care of each other, especially when they know that there is someone weaker. And it's not so important maybe to be 1 minute quicker at home. Yeah, it's very important to be healthy at home.
Yes.
And this goes for both sides, cyclists and car drivers. So I would just love seeing that in our society we would have more respect for life. And I think like that we can go to the next topic, which Chris will be very happy about because he loves the gear.
I'm Mr. Gadget.
He's Mr. Gadget. Chris, I give the word to you. I go and take something from the fridge. And when you finish, you give me a sign. Let's go.
All right. So talking about gear, how can we make our life easier in terms of safety on the road? I found out that there is some nice gear from Garmin, which has a sensor. And that sensor can be connected to your phone to show you actually how many cars are approaching you and at which speed. And that gives me a lot of safety in terms of how should I behave on the road. I don't need to look back anymore. I see, even I don't see, but I see, I know how many cars are approaching me. And I rely on that one. It also has a camera, so I know if people do not behave properly, then it's somehow recorded. I don't know how the law would be in a court case if I could use that. It's kind of like a dash cam, I would say, compared to car.
I think it's allowed. In Poland, it's allowed.
But it only gives me the view from the back. Obviously, there's some equipment as well to monitor everything that is in front of your bike. But at least this gives me a lot of safety. Another thing I was talking about is drinking. And as I use aero bars on my bike, I found it very useful to have a tank directly attached to my handlebars, so I don't need to make that movement while drinking all the time. So I can stay focused on the road and I don't do my movements to the left side I told you earlier.
I think you should still train the movement.
Yeah?
To not continue to go to the left side.
Why? There's gear that, helps me. No, but I agree. So these are two things for me that gives me more safety on the road.
Yeah, for sure. It's a nice gadget for sure to have the drinking there, especially when you have your aero bars. Makes it very easy to drink. And yeah, about the back sensor and camera, yeah, it's very helpful. And I think I don't have it so far, but I will buy something like that for sure. And I want to add a camera in front as well. Just to have it in case I get like a dash cam so that it just records it. Because now after this accident we were talking about a minute ago, I just got aware of how many difficult situations people have on the road. And even I had, and perhaps I didn't even pay attention to it so much when people were honking, when people were screaming at me, because I was more or less ignoring it. And so yeah, I'm quite a little bit more afraid of having an accident now. So for sure, if someone has the opportunity to to get those things, I think it's very helpful. And yeah, of course, light when you go in the dark should be a must as well. You shouldn't go on the road if the visibility is not good enough. So even like during the day when there is like fog, yeah, you need a light. It's very dangerous if you don't have a light. And so light you should buy as well. Any other cool gadgets you think about?
If you talk about cycling itself, I always have a tool bag with me. A tool bag that I can replace a flat tire for sure. So wherever I am, I can replace my tube. And whatever breaks on my bike, hopefully I can repair it as well. So these are things I always keep with me. But that's it, I would say, from tools that I'm carrying.
Yeah, I also have it for my time trial bike. I have like a toolbox. For my road bike, I don't have it because I have tubeless tires. So even if I get a flat tire, I will be able to go home, much likely.
Depends where you are.
Yeah. And question: if you start with triathlon, with cycling, do you need a pro bike? Do you need such a beautiful bike like you have?
Most probably not. Not like this.
Yeah, I agree. You can, if you start, just go with your usual bike. Even that is okay in the beginning. And then, if you trained with that, of course, you will not be able to go the same speed.
Obviously.
But you can train. You can, get used to this kind of stress for your body. And then we could talk about our last topic. Gains,
yes.
Because you have a bike, and even if it's not the best bike, you have a bike. And again, I'm today asking a lot of questions. Chris.
Yes.
How do we get the gains on the bike?
Actually, not letting it stay here. So we need to ride it, yeah? So if you ask me about my riding training, what I do so far, I try to ride at least 3 times per week. Right now, because Krakow Ironman is coming up very soon, I try to ride that road only to get me also familiarizing with the speed I need to use at some parts, because it's very hilly. So that's what I'm training right now. It's 66 kilometers from here, from where I live. Obviously, the full route will be 90 kilometers, but something around that.
And when you go 3 times per week, how do you train? Like how do you plan your trainings? Do you have like a certain power or a certain heart rate, or how do you organize and plan it?
Actually, I just go with the flow, to be very honest. So far,
So you go always full power, full throttle.
Full power, but I remembered last time that we talked about something that I should take some power out when it comes to the end of my cycling. You remember the advice you gave me?
Yeah, but I was talking about the triathlon itself.
Yeah.
Before you go running.
Exactly. So that's what I do usually right now.
So it's like a cool down you do now.
Exactly. Okay, I do a cool down at the end. So just to get my head around that I accept the fact that I need to take some power out. And then sometimes I make that brick workout and then go running. But yeah, from a cycling perspective, right now, I don't have a power meter. I know it would be very useful so I can train a bit more precise. So training precisely, especially intervals, I most likely do on my indoor trainer. Right now, I don't do it outside. So that's something needs to be improved from a gadget perspective. That's why I'm hesitant to buy it right now, because it's cost a lot of money.
Yeah, I have one on my road bike. I don't have one on my time trial bike. I really like it. It's very cool to see and to know how many watts you are pulling. And I agree, when you train, you should always start like a little bit easier and finish a little bit easier, because you train, you want to warm up your body, and when you finish, you want to cool down. So you don't want to finish just abruptly and go back home and then sit down. And so you want to go like with your intensity up and down. Usually, it's not that much I'm doing. It's like 10 minutes warm up and 10 minutes cool down. And then what I, especially in the beginning of the year when it turns warmer, or when I train in winter at home, what I really like is to go a lot of zone 2, so a lot of very low intensity to get my body used to like the longer rides. And what else can I say? I basically do what my coach tells me, but if I would again do my own training plans, I would do a lot of zone 2 training at least once or twice per week, and there perhaps putting in some very short intervals, like some short sprints to activate the muscles, and then some longer intervals at least one time per week where you have more minutes than just like a few seconds of higher power.
So how many intervals then, or how many trainings per week?
It always depends on what someone wants to achieve. But I think if you are new to it and if you go twice, 3 times per week, and you also train running and swimming, then it's more than enough. And I believe that if you train with your heart rate and you have a coach like me who tells me, okay, now you do these intervals and you go up to this percentage of your heart rate, or you go, if I train with my power meter, you go with this percentage of your FTP, functional threshold power, which is a test you can do when you do like 20 minutes on your bike, and you go as fast as you can, and then you have a power for this time. I think you multiply it by 0.95 if I'm correct, and then you have your functional threshold for 1 hour. And then with this, you can give yourself like different types of interval trainings. And I am lucky that I have a coach and he thinks for me, and he's very experienced. He has a lot of knowledge. He studied that far more than me. So here I cannot make many mistakes because he knows the topic. He has
the experience, yeah.
So I can imagine if I would plan it just myself, that I would overdo, that I would do more, because most of the times, like what I get from him is not that hard. But if you train all the time, of course it adds up. But yeah, it's like the consistency. We were yesterday at a meeting.
Consistency is key.
Where we were talking about consistency, and yeah, I think that's all from my side.
I think there was a lot today.
There was a lot today.
There
was a lot today. We especially wanted to talk about etiquette and law. That was very important for us, because I haven't looked into it much before, but I'm happy we talked about that. Chris, do you want to sum up our meeting?
So be careful on the road. It is not always easy as a cyclist. Protect yourself. Make yourself aware what are the regulations, and keep always in mind that you are weaker than most probably other people attending the traffic on the road, so especially cars. And then you can enjoy it actually, right? Because that's what we want to do. We want to thrive in our life. We want to enjoy the sports. And even if you are a driver, I know myself, I'm very impatient. And I take that recent accident also into account when I'm driving just behind someone, even if I'm in a hurry, that I will respect it and I will be calmly overtaking with a lot of space.
Yeah, that would be awesome. All right, that was it. Guys, if you liked it, hit the subscribe button. comment us about something you want to tell us, or we should talk about the next time. I like to talk with you a lot. And see you the next time.
See you the next time. Thank you